It's been 8 years since 3 lily mine workers died when a shaft collapsed and buried a container that they were in underground. The families of Pretty Nkambule, Yvonne Mnisi and Solomon Nyirenda are yet to find closure or justice for their loved ones. An Australian company, it's called Vantage Goldfields, is blaming Arqomanzi for the delay in the mine's reopening in what it says are unnecessary obstructive litigations. Let's understand this now, and we're joined by Vantage Goldfield Mine Chief Executive Officer Mike McChesney. Mr. McChesney, thank you very much for your time. Let's first understand the delay in any movement to try and retrieve this container so that these families of the 3 mine workers find closure. What's the cause of the delay?
Good morning, Xoli. The cause of the delay is the ongoing litigation that you alluded to in your introduction. You know, I think your viewers should know that at the time of the accident, we spent 3 or 4 weeks trying to rescue and recover the lost employees. It was a collective decision taken by management, the DMR, the consultants, the union, and the families to stop the rescue and recovery mission. But we didn't give up there. So we commissioned a report by SRK Consulting, one of the preeminent consulting companies in the world, to develop a report to recover the container within 3 weeks of the accident. That report was presented to the previous Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Minister Xoli, by myself and the chairperson of SRK, and it involved a surface recovery operation and an underground operation. After the discussion and presentation, the Minister said that he endorses the recommendation to go for the underground operation, sinking a new decline into the workings underground at 6 level, which is the most stable level, and to recover the bodies. That report became the foundation of the business rescue plan developed by Rob Devereaux, the business rescue practitioner, which I subsequently appointed. So there's always been a plan, Xoli, to recover the bodies. It's been endorsed officially by the government, and it's been endorsed legally by the business rescue practitioner and the law.
Yeah. Before we get deeper into the litigation that you're saying is standing in the way of these remains being retrieved, let's go back to when you were forewarned that the ground might be unstable at the lily mine operations. Why were those reports?
Who forewarned me, Xoli? That's an interesting one. When were we forewarned?
Wasn't the court pronouncing itself in October last year that there were illegal operations within the mine or illegal mining operations surrounding lily mine, and that there were studies that indicated that this mine could potentially endanger its workers? Are you saying that that didn't come out of court?
No, it was never a warning. It was a finding of the court. And I'm glad the court found the real reason for the collapse of the pillar. We've been fighting illegal mining since the year 2000. We've had multiple security companies dealing with the overt and the covert operations, all of which have been very successful. We knew that there was illegal mining going on in and around our mine from time to time, and those illegal miners were evacuated and chased out of the mine, as one would do. What we didn't know was that there was illegal mining going on inside the pillar, and that only came to light during the inquest during last year, and the findings of the court in October illustrated that. So there was no warning.
Let's then talk about why it is that the litigation is standing in the way of the bodies being retrieved. And I'm asking this within the very same context of the business rescue practitioners that you say are now effectively in charge. Why can't the two go on at the same time? The retrieval, whilst the BRPs do their work.
That's a very good question, and I think a lot of people don't understand the answer. So let me try and explain it. That plan that I referred to in my opening statement was developed to sink a new decline. The cost of that new decline is at least 150 million. So it costs a lot of money. It's the only way you can get close to the container to retrieve it. So it's all been about money. Now, in the first few years, we tried to do a number of transactions with various parties to buy the company. And the requirement was you can buy the company provided you actually have the money to retrieve the container and open the mine. They couldn't meet that condition. So we took that off the table. And we then raised the money ourselves because we've raised all the money for these companies over the years. We've built these mines. So instead of dealing with third parties who are generally unreliable in terms of performance, we dealt with it ourselves. We raised the money, and we actually started implementing an accelerated payment plan in 2021. That's when we were interdicted by Arqomanzi to say, stop. Now, Xoli, I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's somewhat ironic that the same party that says they want the mines open quickly, they want closure for the FAMs timeously, stopped us 3 years ago from actually implementing something with a slightly amended plan. Amended in a positive way, I can tell you, that allowed the creditors, the workers, to be paid immediately instead of waiting 18 months for their payments. That was the beginning of the litigation, Xoli, and that has continued throughout 2021, 2022, and 2023. Had that not occurred, we would have been open and operating. I just want to add on the litigation that we have never brought any litigation against Arqomanzi. They have brought all the litigation, I don't know if it's 7 or 8 cases, against the business rescue practitioner and the companies in rescue.
And that's where things are.
That's what's held it up.
All right. So I hope I'm hearing you, or I've heard you correctly, when you said it is going to cost 150 million rand to retrieve this container. I hope I heard you well there. Because
you did hear me well, and that's a provisional estimate. It's actually gone up since then. So once we get finality on this, of course, we'll revise the capital expenditure estimate. And, it's one of those things with all capital programs. We've got the money. So it really doesn't matter if it's 250 million rand, quite frankly. We've got the funding to do it.
Okay. So if you've got the funding to do it, what's standing in the way then? Because Arqomanzi, they continuing with their legal action, because in your statement yesterday, you also used the word a hostile takeover is what forms part of the design of this litigation. I just want for us to end the conversation at that point, because you've got to explain that clearly to us, and at the same time, make us understand whether you are willing to take responsibility for what the court ruled, that those responsible should be charged criminally. Is that part of what you anticipate now?
Well, the court, in terms of the inquest, as you know, the findings have been made. The cause of the collapse of the pillar was illegal mining. The magistrate has handed this matter over to the Director of Public Prosecutions, the NPA, and we should leave it for that process to roll out and take its course. In the meantime, and I'll come back to let me answer your question before moving on, and that is, you asked about, are we willing? Xoli, we have always been willing to engage with other parties. If Arqomanzi wants to come and talk to me or talk to my shareholders in Australia, the door's open. In fact, we've approached him on numerous occasions to say, if you want to buy the mine or buy into the mine, you're welcome to do so. You are a creditor. Everybody recognizes Arqomanzi as a creditor, but they're not a shareholder. If they want to own the mine, they have to buy the shares. It's as simple as that. And we welcomed the minister's intervention late last month. And because of this, as you say, this impasse, this constant impasse with litigation filed case after case by Arqomanzi, holding the families hostage, the ex-workers hostage, the entire community hostage, when we, as the owners of the mine, who have the mining rights, we have adopted plans approved by the creditors, which are a contract between the company, each company and its creditors, and therefore must be implemented. And most importantly, we have the funding. So we can do it as soon as the BRP moves ahead with the process that he's been asked to do by the minister. And I don't mind reading from you his report, which he published earlier this morning. If you indulge me, it's just one paragraph. It says, on 25th January 2024, the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Honourable Mantashe, called a meeting with the BRP, Arqomanzi and Vantage Goldfields, where he expressed his dissatisfaction regarding the progress of the Lily Mine rescue and urged the two companies to stop litigation, come to some settlement and resolve all issues within 2 months. Xoli, we are standing ready. We've already had a meeting with the BRP last week to say we are ready for the engagement. He must set up the meeting with Arqomanzi. We're ready to talk and stop the litigation, get a settlement going forward and reopen these mines. We've always wanted to do that, and we remain committed to it.
Mike McChesney, let me thank you very much for your time. We're going to leave it there. Just a note that we are going to be talking to Arqomanzi. This will be in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll hear their side of the story.